like to welcome everyone to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting held here Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023 at 3 p.m. When I say regular meeting, that meant to be pre-agenda meeting, Madam Clerk, so I do want to correct that. I'd like to welcome everyone this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. We have in attendance Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Burns, Vice Chair Britton, Commissioner Carswell, our county finance officer, our county attorney, and our county manager, Madam Clerk. I'd like to remind once again everyone to silence their mobile devices, and if you do come to the lectern to speak, please make sure the microphone is activated so it can be heard on our YouTube recording. Gentlemen, at this time, I don't see Dr. Welch. At this time, you've had an opportunity to review the agenda. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, it is my pleasure to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that carries 5-0. That brings us to item number 3, presentations, Pets of the Month, presented by friend Caitlin Suttlemeyer, Animal Service Director. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you guys are doing well. So for Animal or Pet of the Month, we will be doing like we do every month. We'll be presenting a cat and a dog and also updating on some events that we have going on at Animal Services.
Thank you. Comments, gentlemen? And without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. That brings us to item number 2, proclamation for National Animal Shelter Appreciation Week. Caitlin?
Yes, so November 5th through the 11th is nationally recognized as Animal Shelter Appreciation Week this year. The Humane Society of the United States founded National Animal Shelter Appreciation Week in 1996 to promote the role of animal shelters in communities across the country. This proclamation is to acknowledge Burke County Animal Services and all shelters, rescues, volunteers, and others who work to bridge the gap to adoption for unwanted animals, to help keep pets with their people, to advocate for animal rights, and to offer education on responsible pet ownership. We hope you will join us and declare this proclamation recognizing November 5th through the 11th as National Animal Shelter Appreciation Week.
Thank you, Caitlin. Gentlemen, questions, comments? Great job. Thank you. Gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. This brings us to item number 3, projects, events, update, presented by our friend Alex Roney, Assistant HR Director. Alex, how are you, sir?
Doing good, sir. Members of the board, on October 17th, I'll be presenting some brief updates on some upcoming and ongoing HR initiatives and projects. These include our pay and classification study, which we are currently in the process with Baker Tilly on, the County Safety Committee and some risk management updates, and some updates to our New Heart orientation, hopefully going back to in-person at the start of the year, of course, COVID and those kind of things permitting. I also want to dive a little bit deeper on the 17th into our newly created Health and Wellness Committee, biometric screenings, and our upcoming Fall Health and Wellness event. Just a reminder that the Health and Wellness event will be held at Foothills Higher Education Center on October 24th and 25th. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it'll be open to all staff. We're looking forward to a highly successful event. I can give you the update that we have sent out the signups as of today to all staff. We already have just about a third of all staff at the county signed up to come. So we're looking forward to that, and I look forward to presenting the updates to you in a couple weeks.
Gentlemen, any questions, comments for Alex? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Then, gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. That brings us to item number 4 under presentations, library programs and services update, and the 100th anniversary proclamation. 100, wow. Hit it one more time, Jim.
Okay, very good. I have 2 items to present. We have a presentation on library services, and we also have a proclamation for our 100th anniversary. I'll walk you through the presentation really quick. Just an overview of the library. If it's going to work.
Just tell me to flip it on.
Sorry?
Just tell me next page.
Okay, go ahead. I'll keep trying. So the question I want to answer is what our library is all about. And what we're here for is to make people's lives better, to try to improve folks' lives through reading, learning, connecting, and creating. We have two organizations that support us financially outside of what we get from our regular funding sources. That's the Library Foundation of Burke County and the Friends of the Burke County Public Library. And each year, these two groups provide over $100,000 of extra support for our library. So that's very helpful when we're doing extra programming and collections. The Library Foundation was really set up to look at longer range fundraising and larger amounts of fundraising. Their primary purpose is to fund library programs and collections. The Friends is a more proactive group. They're a lot more active than the Library Foundation. The Library Foundation's primary function is fundraising. Now, the Friends do some fundraising, but they do a lot of support for our library staff and our patrons. Friends is a smaller group, has a smaller budget. Library Foundation, has almost $1 million in assets right now, so they're a much larger, more well-funded group than the Library Friends. Now, the bulk of our support comes from you all, from Burke County. We are also very fortunate as a county library system to get funding from several municipalities in the county. Morganton, Valdez, Hildebrand, Drexel, Rutherford College. We also get a substantial amount of funding from the State Library of North Carolina through our annual State Aid to Libraries contribution. And I'm proud to say our contribution for state aid has gone up. The legislature approved an additional $3.8 million in recurring funds for state aid to libraries, which brings that total to almost $18 million. So we should get a nice increase this year in our state aid. A little history about the library. The Morganton Public Library started in 1923. It was in a storefront in downtown Morganton. That large table in the forefront we still have. I don't think we have any of the books, which is probably not a bad thing since they're kind of old at this point. The library was a donation from the Kistler family. We can go to the next slide. This is the house that was on the current site of the Morganton Public Library. This was Rose Villa. The Kistlers purchased that, raised the house, and now we are in our current building. That building was constructed in 1935, and we are celebrating our centennial this year, 2023. The actual date of that is November 2nd. We'll be having an open house on November 5th. We hope everyone will come and attend that. The building has been expanded twice, once in 1958 and again in 1980. And we did an interior and exterior renovation in 2000. Next we'll go to our Valdez Public Library. Again, it started in a storefront in downtown Valdez in 1944. That's the architect's rendering of the original building at Valdez. And I don't know if you can see it on the caption, but the original cost was estimated at $25,000. I'm sure we all wish we could get back to some prices like that on construction. This library was expanded in 1988 and again most recently in 2019. It's now at 9,000 square feet, and that addition has really been helpful to us. People really appreciate it. The last library that was added to our system was in 1997. This was the Hildebrand Library. And for many years, we were in the basement of the Hildebrand Eichard Community Center. We were the only library in the state of North Carolina, maybe in the United States, that had its own swimming pool. We were happy to give that up. When we moved to our temporary site in 2015, a couple hundred yards up the road, as we waited for the completion of a brand new building that was right behind our temporary site, the Library Senior Center. And we have about 7,500 square feet in that building dedicated for the library. Some of the services that we offer, of course, information services, traditional reference assistance. We offer that in person, on the phone, by email. We have a number of online databases that, if you have a library card, are free for you to use. And when we say free, it's not really free. Somebody's paid for it. The legislature paid for this. It's about $2 million a year to pay for these databases. They're available statewide. If we had to buy those locally, we couldn't afford it. So we're very fortunate that the state pays for those for us and our library users. Circulation services, come and get your library card. Once you have that, there's a whole world of resources opened up to you. One is our online catalog, as we are a member of the NC Cardinal Library Consortium. And there's lots of things available for you through NC Cardinal, mainly through our resource sharing. There are over 60 public libraries in North Carolina that are a member of NC Cardinal. We're one of them. We have a shared catalog, and just like you can borrow items from the Morganton, Valleys, or C.B. Hildebrand Library, you can borrow items from any of the member Cardinal libraries. And there are over 7 million items that you have access to. You put a hold on those items are packed up for you and brought back to us here. And gratefully, we do not have to pay for postage. The State Library pays for all the shipping both ways, so that's a nice savings for us too. Our North Carolina room is a great resource. That's kind of a library within a library. They have lots of local history information. Our Picture Burke project, where we digitize images related to Burke County. They have over the years done over 7,000 images of Burke County, and you'll see those in the News Herald and the paper every week. Internet, of course we have internet. We have 35 hardwired public computers for internet. We have Wi-Fi at all of our sites. Technology, we offer classes. We offer software applications on all of our public computers. We provide technical assistance to our customers with software and hardware as we have time to do that. Documents, if you need to print or copy, we're a good place to come to do that. We're probably one of the few places remaining where you can actually send and receive a fax. Some people don't even remember what a fax machine is. We still have one. You can also scan documents if you need to. E-books. E-books have become very, very popular the last few years, and we have lots of resources for e-books that you can download to your phone or your tablet or your computer. And our website is a great source for information about the library. You can get information about all of our programs, our online resources, where our libraries are located, and what their hours are. We have lots of collections at the library, and I want to show you a few of those. We have books for adults, fiction and nonfiction. New adults, this is a new category that we have just started. This is for folks, college-age folks. It's kind of in between our adult and our young adult collections. Traditional young adult, those materials are aimed at folks in high school. Juvenile collections, and this goes from birth to middle school. We have board books, picture books, and then juvenile fiction and nonfiction for those kids. When you get to be my age and you require readers, you have to go to the bigger print sometimes, so we have a good collection of large print books. Again, our North Carolina room, lots of resources there on local history and genealogy. Audio visuals, we have audio books on CD, we have e-audio books, and a collection of DVDs and e-video. Periodicals, we still subscribe to a lot of print magazines and newspapers. If you use the Libby app on our Overdrive collection, we have over 400 magazines that you can access there. But, when you go back to that first slide when I talked about our mission, our goal is to improve people's lives. Sometimes, you wonder, are we actually having an impact? And you can always look at numbers to get an idea, but another thing you can look at is faces. And I want you to look at the faces in these pictures of some of our programs. This is a story time at the Morganton Public Library. This is a young adult summer reading kickoff program on the front lawn at Morganton. We have lots and lots of kids that participate in our summer reading programs. Fire trucks. We bring fire trucks every year. Fire trucks are always popular, and we've got a young firefighter right here getting his gear on. We like to celebrate the diversity in Burke County with our Taste of Culture program. And we're more than just books. We do lots of different things at the library. We've gone hiking, we do scuba diving, we've done rock climbing. Those might be two faces you don't want to see. I'm not sure what their expressions are as they're climbing that rock wall. Lots of STEM activities for kids. That's very important to us that we encourage kids to get involved in STEM. That one's at Morganton, I think another one there at Hildebrand. Again, they do lots of different things, problem solving, engineering, all kinds of science and math. Gets a little messy sometimes, but that's okay. As long as they're having fun and learning, that's great. For many years now, we've done the Black History Celebration at the Morganton Public Library. And again, you don't see faces here, but I wanted you to see the number of people that attend. We usually have 150 to 175 folks, and we've just about outgrown our ability to host that program. But that's a nice event that people love to attend every year. Outdoor music is very popular, and by far the most popular outdoor music we've done over the years has been having the ASU Steel Drum Band come to Morganton Public Library. We program off-site. This is a craft program during the summer we had at Catawba Meadows. Arts are a very important component of our programming. And this young lady, I think, did quite a nice job with her painting there. Animal programs. If you bring animals to the library, I guarantee you're going to have a huge crowd. You don't see any animals here, but what they're looking at, I think, is a 14-foot Burmese python snake stretched across the width of the library. It's a Snakes Alive program, and we always make sure he counts in and out what he brings and takes home. Authors, again, we've had some best-selling authors come, Sharon McCrum, Beth Revis, and Susan Harlan. The staff at the library feels it's very important to give back to the community. Every year during the holidays, they do a bumble tree project, and the bumble is the character in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And you come in and you pick a bumble ornament off the tree, and you buy items that are needed by the residents of area care centers. Typically, we collect over 100 bags for that program. Our Library Foundation is active too. They sponsor 4 Little Free Libraries across the county. They also sponsored, along with the Burke Women's Fund, a story walk over at Catawba Meadows. Each year, we offer over 1,300 programs with an average attendance of 26,000. So our staff is very active doing programming, and that's an example of our monthly programming calendar that you can see on the left. That's the end of the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions or listen to any comments.
Thank you, Jim. Great presentation. Gentlemen, comments, questions?
Jim, one question. You had a slide there that talked about North Carolina Live, I believe it was, in the database. How does that differ from Google or internet?
The big difference is these commercial databases have professional staff that curate the resources on there. You know, when you do a Google search, nobody has curated your results. You don't know what you're going to get, who it comes from, what the credibility or authority of those resources is. And that's different on NC Live. Those resources have all been vetted. So you can count on them being a credible, good source to use. A lot of those resources are full text books, magazines, and like I said, they've been vetted. And I would say that's the biggest difference between NC Live and Google. I do use Google though, so.
Gentlemen, other questions? Jim, what do you, as far as, because I saw the 26,000 number up there, so not only this library, but historically, how do we compare as far as foot traffic now versus in the past? And is it something that, and then I mean, as far as nationwide trends, do we see those numbers trending down, or are you becoming less relevant or more relevant? It just,
I think, you know, when computers and electronics came along, especially the internet, a lot of people thought libraries would just kind of go away, and that certainly has not happened. Anymore, though, when we look at our numbers, we kind of have to look at pre-COVID and after COVID. Obviously, during COVID, numbers went way down. Our numbers are going back up. We have not recouped where we were before COVID, but we're getting there. You know, our door count is down, but our circulation is up even before COVID. We had a collection use this year of over 252,000. You know, library usage across the country is up after COVID. There have been some times when, you know, it's been on a downward trend. Typically, though, when the economy is bad, we get used more. But the numbers that we had, that 252,000, we haven't seen numbers like that in 15 years. So I feel very good about that, but there is a lot of demand for library services. And I think one of the reasons for that with us is the programming. You know, we're not just about books, and I'm not saying books aren't important, they are, because we're all about wanting people to read. But the programs bring people into the library, and libraries are becoming more of a community center than just a place to come and check out books. And we have worked very hard, you know, to fulfill that role here. And again, anything that we can do to improve people's lives, that's what we're all about.
and just kind of follow up with that. So you are seeing increased usage in some respects, but when you're looking at as far as space needs, and that's been talked about for years, and I don't want to stir anything up, but what I'm asking is, I would think for square footage needs in the library system, not just here or anywhere, it's probably gone down per square foot per client because of the way the usage is. Am I incorrect?
I would say you could get by with less square footage now than you could in the past. The North Carolina Public Library Directors Association develops standards for things like that. And they used to have a standard for square footage that was at 0.65 square feet per capita, and that has gone down now to 0.58. But even at the 0.58, and I kind of promised myself I wasn't going to talk about space, but
No, I asked the
we do
question,
have
but we're
some space.
seeing it trend down, is what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
And a lot of that has to do with electronic resources. You're not having to warehouse as many items. What we're finding, though, is while you might need less space for collections, you're probably going to want more space for programming and people to come in and gather and meet and use your facility in that way.
Mr. Chairman. Jim, what's been the impact of having merged the senior center and the library in Hildebrand? What's been the effect of that? And
I think, anytime you have an opportunity to collaborate and share a facility like that, I think it's a good idea. I mean, there's an opportunity there to do some different types of programming and services that you might not have otherwise. For example, here in Morganton, the library and the senior center are both in Morganton, but we're not in the same facility, and we're not that far apart, but there's not that collaboration that you have when you're in the same facility. I think it's a great idea.
so did you see the usage in the library go up once you guys moved into the shared facility?
Oh, yes. Tremendously. A couple of reasons for that. One was the new facility, more space, new space, the increase in the hours. That facility in Hildebrand is now comparable to what we have in Valdez. It's pretty much the same amount of use at both places. And until we got into that new facility, that was not the case.
Thank you.
Jim, you and I were talking that space is important though, because you sometimes have like 6 copies of the same novel, or it's like a John Grisham book, or
Yeah, Mr. Smith and I were talking earlier about, when that new James Patterson book comes out, it's not like we buy one hardback copy. We got to buy a minimum of 3 for all 3 sites. Then somebody's going to want the large print version. Somebody may want a paperback version. Somebody's going to want it on audiobook on CD. Somebody's going to want the ebook, and somebody's going to want the e-audio book. So very quickly, you're looking at 5 or 6 different formats for one title. And probably the cheapest one of those, other than the paperback, is the hardback copy. When you buy ebooks, very often you don't own that in perpetuity. You buy it for a period of time, 12 months or 24 months, or you buy it for a number of uses. So when that time period expires, the book is gone out of your collection and you've got to get it again. Same thing with the number of uses. Whenever those number of uses are gone and you still have demand for it, then you've got to purchase it again. So it becomes fairly expensive to maintain a collection with all those different formats.
Any other comments? Mr. Carter?
And we don't need to lose sight, even though we have a very aggressive internet program trying to get broadband all across the county, the library is still used for schoolwork. There's still children come in, and that's the only way they have to get to a computer, get to the internet, and the families, especially some of our folks that have just moved into Burke County, children are teaching adults how to speak English and how to read the books. I guess one of the most unfortunate aspects of what we have now, especially at the Morganton side, is the homeless folks that we have that have given us a little bit of a headache about being on the grounds of the facility. So when we talk about space needs, I think one of the things that we look at in the future is the security issues that need to be in place, because of the numbers on the library are still going up. There's still books there, and people still read those books, and it gets a The programs, Jim won't brag enough about the programs in Burke County. Burke County Library is a leader all across the state of North Carolina in programs. Our programs are phenomenal, and there's a lot of people come. It's just like when the band comes down from ASU, you don't even have room to stand over there on the grounds. So Jim's crew, as far as retention, he has a great crew that works for him. They don't leave. They stay there in the library. So a lot of work to do, especially in the Valley side is really good. Of course, the Hildebrand side is great. So we've got some problems at Morton that need to be taken a look at, but we're still providing the services. As Jim said, we're meeting the mission, and we do appreciate that, Jim.
Appreciate it. The second item we have is a proclamation celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Morton Public Library that we will present at your regular meeting. If you'd like me to read that now, I can, or we can wait till the regular meeting.
And gentlemen, I would say we can just listen to that at the regular meeting. Gentlemen, any other questions, comments?
I do want to make a comment. I have a granddaughter in the 3rd grade, and and I want nothing more than for her to love to read. And there's just something about putting her in a car and driving her to the library to turn that into an experience, as opposed to just picking up a book off the shelf at the house or getting her little iPad out and dialing in to pulling up something for her to read. The experience is a huge part of it, and I appreciate everything that the library system in Burke County does.
Thank you. We appreciate
And
that.
she's there once a week,
Good.
and she would be there 8 times a week if we had time to take her. But I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
You enjoy it more than she does, don't you? Any other questions, comments, Jim? Jim, you do a great job, as we've said, so appreciate it, and we'll see you for the proclamation at the next meeting. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda under presentations. This will bring us to item number 4, scheduled public hearings. We do have 2 of these, gentlemen. The first being a request to name road off Burkline Avenue and public hearing. This will be presented by our IT director, Scott Black. So he comes out from behind the glass.
I had to come out, yes, I had to come out today. All right, so the first one here is a request to name a private road off Burkmont Avenue, and Gabe's going to put the map up there. So back in July, we were contacted by Mark Cox. He was talking to the planning department. He was interested in developing this, the one up here, it's got Magnolia Place on it. And while looking at that, we realized that this road, can you scroll it up a little bit? Zoom out. Sorry. Where it connects to Burkline Avenue. Keep scrolling up a little bit, Caleb. Page. Sorry. Zoom it out to the whole page. Where it connects to Burkline Avenue, the 2 addresses are 1236 and 1240. There's a house there named 1230. We didn't have any more addresses to give. And the workaround that had been done in the past was to put a unit number at the end of the other 2 addresses that are out there. So they had 1238 B and 1238C. And if there's going to be future development out there, we can't keep giving that. This is going to cause further problems. So we sent letters out to all the property owners on the road, asked them to suggest proposed names, and got those back. So we got 2 votes for Pollard Drive, 1 vote for Magnolia Place, and 1 vote for Wild Daisy Way, all of which are acceptable road names, not duplicated. And so just to have the public hearing and then for y'all to pick a road name.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? All right, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda under scheduled public hearings. That'll bring us to item number 2, request to name the road off Mineral Springs Mountain Road.
All right. So this one again, we were contacted by some of the residents out there interested in naming this road. There are 5 existing dwellings out there and a mobile home park, although the mobile home park is addressed off its own little private drive, so that won't be affected. But again, and then part of this, the highlighted in solid yellow there, that part is actually a state maintained road for about 1,000 feet. And then the main part of the road runs up the dash line. So that's what would be all given the same road name. And then you can see these other arrow lines. These are essentially the driveways to these houses here and down here that connect back to the road. And then, so we sent letters again out to all the property owners. We initially, within the 10 days that were requested, we received 2 responses back proposing Galileo Road. And then later, after the date we got in, one more letter requesting Briar Creek Road from Mr. Goodman here. He owns this property with a house on it, and then this vacant plot tract and that vacant tract there. 2 more letters came in from these properties proposing Galileo Road. Although these 2 addresses wouldn't be affected, they actually access directly on the Mineral Springs Mountain Road. But we asked them because their property doesn't block the proposed road. So that's theirs.
Gentlemen, questions, comments?
So I noticed at the top of the map there was 2, so there's a total of 4 for Galileo Road.
Total of 4 for Galileo.
Galileo.
And then 3 here. No response from this property owner here.
So when we bring this up at our meeting, what name are we giving it a name, or are you going to make a recommendation on the name?
I mean, the majority votes we've had has been Galileo Road. Both names are perfectly acceptable.
So what you'll be presenting is to rename it.
Yeah, to name that. Now, this one is a little different because there is existing SR Road. There has to be the resolution to go to the Board of Transportation for them to officially change the road. I talked to the DOT. That's basically just a process that they go through. So we'll send that off to them. Board of Transportation will approve that. That'll change it.
I just want to make sure it wasn't something we were going to need to make a choice on when we come back.
Well, essentially, it is like the other one. We had the 3 options, 2 votes for one name.
I mean, ultimately, we make the decision. I mean, we can name it Randy Burns, right?
Yeah.
No,
I'll check, make sure.
But you have to keep it up.
no,
Um,
I have a road to keep up already.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? Scott, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Then, gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda under an item number 2 for scheduled public hearings. This will bring us to our items for consent. First item under consent agenda, appointment to the Parks and Rec Commission, presented by our Madam Clerk, Kay Draw.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a request to remove Terry Norton from the official roster. He was in seat number 7 representing W.A. Young, and but he has resigned, and we are requesting that you appoint Chris Newton to fill that vacant seat, which has an unexpired term ending March 31, 2024.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 2, reappointment to the Jury Commission, presented by Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a request to reappoint Jennifer Francis to the Jury Commission to complete the remainder of a term ending September 30th, 2025. You may recall that we recently appointed her to a very short, unexpired term, and this will be her full appointment.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? And then, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. That brings us up to item number 3, reduction to the membership of the East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board, presented by Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm going to do my best to present this, but we do have Roxanne Powell with Senior Services here in case I get stuck. This is a request to reduce the membership of the East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board from 9 seats to 5 seats. There are a number of seats that are vacant, and they have been vacant for quite some time, and reducing the membership would allow them to establish a quorum and do their business. In this new proposal, there will be 5 members, 4 of them would be at large. 3 of 3 of the 4 at-larges would be for citizens over the age of 55, and 1 seat would be for the East Burke Senior Center site manager or an ex officio non-voting member, staff member. So the makeup is very similar to what they have now. It's just a reduced capacity.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Gentlemen, questions?
Kay, I'm having trouble reading that. Explain the 5 members. It says 4 seats at large. 3 of the 4 is over 55, and then 1 seat for the East Burke Senior Center site manager or an ex officio. It seems like there's still a missing person there. I don't see the
3 of the seats have dual requirements, so 4 of them are at large, meaning they can live anywhere in the county. 3 of those 4 at large are at large, and you got to be 55 years or older. So that's 4 seats, and then your 1 senior center site manager.
So is that a non-voting member?
No, in that case, it is a voting position. If it's the ex officio staff member, then it's non-voting. But that's based on their existing bylaws. That's how it's kind of written now with their non-membership.
So the site manager is a voting member. Okay.
But I think maybe they did that because they, like, for example, if the site manager position was vacant for some reason, then another senior center staff member could fill in a non-voting capacity so they could still possibly meet. That was what I was thinking.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That'll bring us to item number 4, approval of real property purchase. This is a placeholder presented by Brian Epley, our county manager, or Mark Dillahunty. Take your pick.
I'll take this one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
As we've talked about several times, we were in need of operational space, primarily for the use of social services and the adult protective services, currently being not ample storage at our Parker Road site. They've been relocated to share space in next door to where we are today. And we had many more people than the space was designed for, and also not a great opportunity for public intake for those referrals. So we had been looking for opportunities and found a building directly across the street at 201 Avery Avenue. We're able to negotiate an advantageous purchase price of about 5,000 square feet. We were able to obtain that building for $575,000. That's about $118 a square foot, which is, in today's market, certainly a favorable transaction. Worked with the county attorney and are prepared to execute and with the board support. So I know that's something we've talked about several times, including last meeting in closed session, but happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Thank you, Mr. Epley. Item number 5 under consent agenda, general services RFQ for infrastructure projects related to sewer system design and construction. This will be presented by our friend Mark Dillahunty.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A RFQ was put out on August 14th for selection of a qualified professional engineering design firm for the bidding, construction, oversight of several infrastructure projects. The projects include, but are not limited to, lift station and collection system upgrades, sewer line replacement, general consulting, and planning for a system-wide asset inventory and assessment analysis. Due to an insufficient number of responses that were received from the original solicitation, the project was re-advertised, and responses are now due back on October the 6th, and it is believed that we'll have a recommendation before you at the next meeting.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? Yes, sir.
So are we moving this item to decision item? Is that the plan?
So then, without objection, this item will be moved to the decision item. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, do we do we have any need to move that item before that to decision item, or is it okay? Mr. Attorney, is it okay where it is? The land transaction item?
It would be better in decision.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we move that item, item number 4, real property purchase, to decision also.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Britton. Gentlemen? Anyone opposed? All right. Let's move that to items for decision. All right, that'll bring us to item number 6, Tax Department Release Refund Report for September 2023, presented by John Bridgers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the month of September, the tax refunds and releases, the report was $36,277.37. Rebuild amount was $3,918.83, with a net release of $32,363.54, and $0 were refunded. For the NCVTS, which is the vehicles, we had a refunds totaling $267.47.
Gentlemen, comments, questions? Second to review that. Then without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Gentlemen, bring us to item number 7, tax collection report for September 2023.
I have the wrong report in my hand. We got the one from the whole.
Here you go.
For the month of September, property tax, we collected year-to-date $35,448,536.48, which is 67.27% of the budget amount, leaving a balance to collect of $17,251,140.52. Motor vehicle tax, we have collected $1,559,234.86, which is 25.15% of the budget amount, leaving a balance to collect of $4,640,765.14. For current year taxes, we have collected $37,007,671.34, which is 62.83% of the budget, leaving a balance to collect of $21,891,905.66. For delinquent taxes, we have collected since for year to date $274,326.36, which is 39.19% of the budget, leaving a balance to collect of $425,673.64. Late list penalty, we have collected $84,527.43, which is 25.71% of the budget amount, leaving a balance to collect of $244,427.57. For the motor vehicles, the total tax levy, we have collected $35,448,436.48, which is 65.76% of the budget amount, with a balance to collect of $18,454,894.47.
Thank you, John. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
John, my apologies, going back to the release refund report. What is the status correction?
That is when the situs is where it is. So usually it's in the wrong fire district, and so that's a correction from getting it taken out of the one it was actually in to the one that it really should be. Most of the time, that's automobiles. If the Department of Revenue or Motor Vehicles, DMV, doesn't know where somebody's located, they will automatically default it to the most expensive one in the county, which happens to be Morganton. And so then they come, oh, I don't owe that, and it's in whatever fire district, and so we take it out of that and put it in the right one. Thank you.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? Thank you, John. Without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Brings us to item number 8, Veteran Services. Resolution in support of Operation Greenlight. This will be presented by Roxanne Powell, our Senior Services Director. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner, and for the opportunity to present today on Operation Greenlight. Our Veterans Officer, Molly Eller, is out of town today on training, but she is very excited to bring this event back for a second time. Operation Greenlight is an opportunity for our county to bring awareness and show our support for our local veterans. For 1 week in November, that includes Veterans Day, we would like to join other counties across the state of North Carolina and illuminate as many Burke County-owned buildings as we can with green lights, the same as we did last year. We've spoke with General Services. They're supportive of the proposal, and they are available to help us with installations again. Additionally, we'd also like to extend an invitation to the whole community to encourage their participation as well. And we have press releases and social media advertisements ready to roll to help spread the word. So with asking today for the Board of Commissioners to adopt the attached resolution and declare November 6th through November 12th as a time that we are going to recognize our Burke County veterans with the Operation Greenlight project.
Gentlemen, what?
Mr. Chairman, just a personal preference, I would like to see that move to action so we can actually make the motion and approve that. I know it's probably neither here nor there, but I'd like to see it be an action item.
Madam Clerk? Any other questions, comments? Roxanne, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And gentlemen, that has been moved to items for decision, so that will move us to item number 9, Western Piedmont Community College proclamation of National Apprenticeship Week. And it was going to be presented by our friend Dr. Welch, but I think he got sidetracked.
Yes, I think Dr. Welch is busy with state accreditation, perhaps, and so I will do my best to substitute for him. This proclamation in your packet declares or proclaims November 13th through the 19th as Apprenticeship Week, and it encourages all citizens, businesses, educational institutions, and community organizations to join in celebrating apprenticeship programs and their positive impact on our county.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? Did a great job with substitution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Then without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. So this will bring us to section 6, items for decision. There is one item for decision, Finance Project Unix Bid Award. It's a placeholder presented by Jessica Whitesides, a senior fiscal analyst. How are you?
I'm great. How y'all are?
Great.
So the county is now prepared to receive bids for the water sewer lines that will be installed at Unix Packaging. Unix Packaging is a 500,000 square foot facility at the Burke Business Park. So we received 2 grants to fund, one, the water and the sewer side, and this is a collaborative effort through Burke Development. So hopefully the bids will be received and opened by October 6th, so Friday, and then come October 17th, B&G with West Consultants will be here with me to present what we received.
Questions, comments for Jessica? Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on items for decision. So, Madam Clerk, just for clarity on items for decision, on the 17th, as a reminder for everyone, we have this project, we have Operation Greenlight, we have approval real property purchase. Is there any others that I missed?
The RFQ.
Oh, the RFQ, I'm sorry. There'll be 4 items for decision, just for clarity, gentlemen, and for Madam Clerks. Gentlemen, any other questions or comments? Then I will remind everyone to submit your reports to the clerk ASAP for inclusion in the agenda packet. A couple of friendly reminders. October 5th, the Register of Deeds, as always, has some special occasion going on, and the Register of Deeds office is hosting their annual special wedding event of the year on Thursday, October 5th, 2023, from 1 till 7:30. The wedding ceremonies will be held outside in the courtyard under the big oak tree this year. This year's event will be Window to My Heart, which will be a rustic farmhouse-inspired theme. There are 14 slots for $90, which includes the cost of the marriage license, a certified copy of the marriage license, and officiant services. On October 10th, Recovery Court graduation at 2 p.m. Courtroom number 2. October 9th, special announcement at the Great Meadows Mega Site at 11 a.m. at 3970 Dyesertsville Road, Morganton. Carpooling highly recommended, Madam Clerk, because there's not a lot of parking. It's mainly on the side of the road, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. October 13th, ribbon cutting, Oak Hill Community Park and Forest, 1:30 p.m. That's at 820 North Carolina 126 here in Morganton. October 17th, Board of Commissioners, regular meeting at 6 p.m. As usual, we remind everyone to please don't litter, pick up trash, cover your loads to the convenience centers and landfill, please. Adopt or foster a pet from Animal Services. Spay or neuter your pets as well. So, gentlemen, at this time, is there any other discussion items? Yes, sir.
I would like to make a recommendation to Mr. Wilson for the library when he has his Snakes Alive festivities next year, that we get the president of the North Carolina County Commissioners Association to do his Marlin Perkins impersonation with that 15 or 20 foot boa constrictor.
Are you still sick?
If Johnny agrees to that, I'm definitely going to be there.
I think Johnny's saying that's the medication talking.
Anything else, gentlemen? There being none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Madam Clerk.